everyone, Blugoblin here. Thank you for joining me here for my comic book review for this week of January 2014. I apologize for being a bit late. Once again, I had to find the time to sit down and read these comics that I'm about to review here. Had a pretty good weekend with my girlfriend. We went out of town, had some fun, met up with some friends, and then we watched the Royal Rumble. And a friend of mine and I got together and we did a review of both TNA Genesis and the WWE Royal Rumble. It's over at my Blugoblin X channel. The very first episode of Nerd Wrestling Review. Go check it out and let us know what you think. But here I'm talking about some comic books here. Got a little stack here. Got one from Dynamite and the rest are from, you guessed it, DC and Marvel. I'm going to start with Dynamite, run through DC, and end with Marvel. Alright, let's get the Dynamite book out of the way. We're going to talk about Legends of Red Sonja, issue number 3. Gail Simone, Lee Moore, Nicola Scott, Rhianna Pratchett, Jack Jadson, Tula Lotay, Doug Holgate, and Nenibium. If I butchered any of those names, I apologize. I don't know, I didn't butcher Gail's name, but any of those names I had trouble pronouncing. If I butchered it, I do apologize. This was a pretty solid issue. Very well written. Of course, it's a Gail Simone book. She's the head writer, but she's not the only writer. Other writers, including Nicola Scott, who I know more for artwork. She takes a stab at writing in this book. Once again, this miniseries continues the storytelling of the Grey Riders going after Red Sonja. There's a bounty on her. They're going to go find her. They're going to collect it and stuff like that. And they come across 3 more people who tell tales of their ordeals with Red Sonja. The first one about the Palace of the Necromancer and everything, I thought that was a pretty interesting story. I thought it was very well told. The artwork could have spruced up a little bit, but for what we got, I was happy with it. I liked the storytelling. I liked the ending of the first story. It was very well done, and it was a perfect explanation as to why this person hates Red Sonja. The second story, I'm not gonna lie, the elderly woman who has trouble speaking properly and everything, it was written by Nicola Scott. No offense to Miss Scott, but the second story really didn't do that much for me. It really didn't. It's like she says that Red Sonja stole her dream or killed her dream or something like that. But all it basically was Sonja killed an owl or a bird that was coming toward her when she was a little kid. And I'm like, I read it, but it just didn't really do that much for me. The third story was called Gerd's Story. What lies beneath, or I believe that's what it was called. But it's a tale of a former warrior who now, takes residence in a little village and everything. And we get this is a story on this is their take on how Red Sonja first got her bikini armor, if you want to call it that way. This is the tale that told of how she got her bikini armor. She was originally, garbed up like the average warrior, chainmail, heavily armored, lots of weapons, and she says that stuff weighs you down. The less you wear, the faster you'll move, and the better your chances are of surviving a fight. It's like that. She shows her the bikini, and she's like, and Sonja's like, that doesn't cover much. And he said, if you good enough, it doesn't have to. It's like they'll be too busy staring at you where it gives you an advantage, and it makes perfect sense. With a body like that, any red-blooded male who's horny is going to look at her and probably get distracted by looking at her during the fight, and it gives Red Sonja the advantage. I thought it was really well told. The Grey Riders are hearing these tales. There's some dissension between them, and the book ends very nicely. I'm satisfied with it. It's a good book. It's a good series. Not much else to say. I just think it was really well written, really, really well done. Not all of it was perfect, but like I always say, for what I get, I'm happy. This was really good. Moving on to DC. We're going to start off with Batman number 27. I'm I'm not gonna lie, the best thing about this book is the cover. I mean, look, I'm not trying to be disrespectful toward the Batman franchise and everything. I'm just so sick and tired. We're still in Zero Year. Zero Year story overall kind of sucks, because how many times do we need to be retold Bruce Wayne, Batman's origin? And now, how many times has there been changes, twerks, and twists added into Batman's origin? I mean, this is... Let's go back in time to Batman's rookie years, because we can't seem to think of anything new to come up with. Again, well, yeah, they're coming up with something new, but they're putting something new in something classic. It just kind of bothers me a little bit. This issue wasn't terrible. But to me, the best stuff about this book was the speeches from Jim Gordon and from Alfred. We've seen them tell speeches like this hundreds of times, but sometimes we need storytelling like this. The rest of the book, it was just for me. Batman's dealing with the Riddler and all that stuff. That was fine, but the stuff with Gordon was probably my favorite parts of the book. That's pretty much it. I mean, this book was okay. Wasn't great, but at best, I could say it was okay. That's all I can say. Moving on to Batman 66, issue number 7. Jeff Parker, I salute you, man. You're doing a really good job. Face off with False Face. Oh, man. One of the more underrated villains of the Batman TV series, False Face. And to see what they do with False Face in this issue was really, really good. The artwork in here, the interior artwork, is much better than the previous issues were. But I'm not saying the artwork in the previous issues was bad. They were good, but this is even better. Really, really good. And what a way to start off False Face run of crime in this issue. What a way to do it. I will not dare spoil how we are introduced to False Face in this issue. Just the stuff that he does is just making it really personal for Batman. Yet it's unintentional, and that's all the hinting I'm going to give away. Very, very nicely done. Some nice one-liners in here, like you would come to expect from a series like this. And the second story with the Joker was funny. It was fun. It was cornball, good old-fashioned humor. I enjoyed this a hell of a lot more than I did the regular issue of Batman. This was really solid, very fun. Very fun, very charming, very cheeseball. But I love it. It is really good. The more I read this, the more I feel that DC truly deep down does respect the Adam West TV series, and they do everything they can to make this actually feel like brand new episodes of the actual TV show. I promise you, if you were a diehard fan of the Adam West TV show, and you read the dialogue in here, I promise you, because I do, I hear the voices of these characters in this book. It is that good. It is really, really good. And that's all I'm going to say, because I don't want to spoil hardly anything. It was really good. Solid read. Moving on to Batman and Two-Face, number 27. Not much to say about this book either. It's just basically, it's Batman getting Two-Face and the girl who scarred him, getting their asses out of the fire. That's pretty much all this was. We get some more backtracking into Harvey Dent's history, and we find out just how much shit he was under, before he became Two-Face. And the McKillen sisters, I believe that's what their name is pronounced. The McKillen sisters, they really, had Harvey by the balls, and with a little help from Bruce Wayne, he was able to try to get away from that kind of life, and he became the beloved Gotham District Attorney that we knew him as before he became Two-Face. I mean, this book has been focusing clearly on Two-Face, with Batman. It seems like Two-Face is the star and Batman's the co-star. That's how it felt. With this particular issue, it did. It was nice for what it was. Pretty good. A decent read. I did enjoy it. I always like Peter Tomasi's writing, and Patrick Gleason's artwork really, really worked in this issue. Very well done. And I kind of like the cliffhanger. The cliffhanger was good. Not too much of a dun-dun-dun kind of thing, but what we got was good. Solid reading. Peter Tomasi is no slouch to great writing when it comes to Batman. Just solid stuff. I loved it. It was great. In a sense, it was pretty good. I don't know why I just said it was great, because it was pretty good. It wasn't perfect. I'm harping too much about it. Let's move on. Moving on to Batwoman, number 27. Oh, you beloved $2.99 price tag. If only Marvel knew that price. Mark Andreyko, Jeremy Juan, and Francis Manipool. Yes, Francis Manipool gives us some artwork in here, and it is good. This was really good. I mean, not too much happens in here in terms of Batwoman and Hawkfire doing some ass-kicking action. This right here is an emotional issue. You know, Kate is falling to her death, and she's having hallucinations about her twin sister. And she's having all these hallucinations and flashbacks. You know, she got dishonorably discharged, you know, because she's a lesbian and everything. But she's able to snap out of it just enough to stop herself from dying from this fall she's taking. But it doesn't end well for Kate. You know, it bangs up Kate pretty well. Very, very nicely done. The story, the emotional angles of these hallucinations and flashbacks was very, very nicely done. Really well told. The two-page splashes were really good. But it's the ending of the book that made you go, whoa, nice, well played. Where are they going to go from here? Because I'm anxious to see how Kate explains herself in the next issue. This was solid. This was a fantastic read. It's not the strongest issue of the series, but I really, really enjoyed it. Mark Andreyko, you're doing a great job. Keep up the good work. This was awesome. Moving on to Green Lantern New Guardians, number 27, In the Hands of the Warmonger. Justin Jordan does a good job with the writing. Andre Brisson, I hope I didn't butcher your name, but I gotta say, the artwork in here wasn't really that good for me. I mean, I've seen worse, but I was, wow. It's easy to tell an instant difference in the artwork from the previous issues, but this was pretty good. It was a little dialogue heavy, just a little dialogue heavy for me. But you know, it's Kyle, Carol, and the new Guardians of the Universe, you know, tracking down somebody they've worked with in the past, and they come across this guy. Boom, that's pretty much all this was. And that's all I'm gonna say. It's like, this guy, the Warmonger, he's a really badass fighter. I mean, he takes a blast of white energy right to the face, and it doesn't even faze him. I'm like, oh my god. DC really gets off on giving us characters that, you know, Green Lanterns think they can take down, but it turns out, no, they just shake it off and just keep fighting. There's been noticing a pattern of that lately. A Green Lantern or a White Lantern or any other Lantern, I got this much power, and they come across a guy who's even more powerful. DC really gets off on powerful stuff when it comes to Green Lantern titles. But for what it was, I enjoyed it. I dug it. The storytelling was good. The artwork could have been a little bit better. Could have toned down a little bit on the dialogue. There was a lot of talking in this issue. But it's come to be expected when you got so many characters in one single series. Above average, nowhere near perfect. I'd say give it a read. Red Hood and the Outlaws, number 27. Oh my god. DC is really, really testing my patience with this series. Starfire is literally the only reason why I'm still buying it, because I don't get her anywhere else. But DC's really pushing it. Really, really pushing it, and I'm scared that I'm going to have to end up dropping this series if it continues to let me down. This did almost nothing for me. It's Jason Todd versus Ra's al Ghul, and I've seen this kind of storytelling so many goddamn times. It's become a cliche. You know, when you get the hero versus the villain's got the hero with his back against the wall, the hero's about to lose all faith, but then he realizes, my power, my strength comes from my friends. I'm like, oh my fucking God. How many times have we seen this scenario told, not just in comics, but in television, in movies, hell, even on plays, etc., etc. This is one of the most, they went, James Denine IV, no disrespect meant here, man, but what the fuck were you thinking? You took a safe way out to end this story with the Ra's al Ghul, You took the easy way, the safe way out. You relied on a cliched story. You relied on a cliched angle that we've seen millions and millions of times before, and it did nothing for me. They even teased the fact that Todd may be even more powerful, or may be able to wield power that Ra's al Ghul can't. Give me a fucking break. Whatever. I mean, this wasn't a god-awful issue, but my God, I've seen this shit before. Moving on to Marvel. All New X-Factor, issue number 2. Now hold on tightly. Sponsored by Serval Industries. Peter David, still doing a good job here. This was much better than issue 1 was. Issue 1 was just your standard get to know everybody issue, you know, get the series up off the ground and into the shelves and everything like that. It was your standard first issue of the series, but Peter David did a good job with it. I'm not going to try to spoil too much about this. It's Gambit, Quicksilver, and Polaris doing a mission for Serval Industries, and they run across 3 characters. I'm not going to spoil who they are, but it's 3 characters that Pietro knows, and needless to say, and to say the least, they despise him. They want to end him. And supposedly these are going to be 3 new team members. These may be 3 new team members to X Factor. They may not be. Who knows? The action here was really good. The power displays in here was really good. I liked the one-liners. I loved the dialogue. The character interaction, the character development was really good. Quicksilver's trying to redeem for how wicked he used to be in the past. Polaris is trying to step it up and trying to be a good leader. Gambit's just trying to protect his own ass, yet at the same time, you know, he's trying to be a team player. You know, it's more of the standard stuff we saw in the first issue, but this was a step up in my opinion. I thought it was really, really well done. A decent read. Really, really well done, and I was satisfied with what I got. I mean, we're only 2 issues in. It's too soon to judge, and it's too soon to harshly judge the entire series. We're only 2 issues in, and I feel like it's way too soon to compare it to the previous X Factor series with Madrox and his group. It's way too soon to compare, and it's way too soon to judge so harshly. Give it a few more issues, and then maybe we can start comparing, and then maybe we can start being a little more brutally honest with it. It is Peter David. It is X Factor. You just give me those 2 names, and I'll at least give it a look. Very nicely done. Moving on to Wolverine and the X-Factor, issue number 40. Jason Aaron, still doing a fantastic job. And Laraz's artwork, fantastic. This was good. This was the Jean Grey School students, a select few of them, giving the two moles from S.H.I.E.L.D. a real tour of the Jean Grey School. And they even tell them, it's like, hey, you want to know what the Jean Grey School really is? Grab a Banff. So they do. And they're given a full, uncensored tour of the campus. And it is good. Good action, good drama. Good character development for the students. It was really, really good. I loved some of the one-liners in here. There was also some good stuff between Wolverine and Dick Summers' Cyclops. The stuff that their argument and their talking to each other was really one of the true highlights of the book. And I loved what they were saying to each other. You know, Cyclops is wanting to know, why do you hate me so much? And Wolverine's answers I'm not going to spoil, and I'm not going to spoil their entire conversation. The interaction between Logan and Dick, or, you know, Wolverine and Cyclops, the interaction between those two guys, I will not spoil anything. This is a book you have to read. You got to pick this book up and read that part. I would recommend that for just this part alone. But the students really stick it to the S.H.I.E.L.D. agent moles, and they find a way to get out of it, and it was really, really well done. This was a solid read. Good job from Jason Aaron. Fantastic stuff. Marvel, Mr. Aaron, keep giving me stuff like this. Keep giving me stories like this. You got a guaranteed fan for life here. Very, very nice. Ending it with X-Men number 9, Brian Wood and the Dodsons, giving us the next part in the Archaea storyline, as I call it, the Archaea storyline. Lady Deathstrike, Typhoid Mary, and the original Enchantress have formed a sisterhood of evil mutants, if you will, to combat the X-Men, or the X-Men team that's in this issue, in this series, excuse me. And it was really, really well told. The action here was good, but it was more, you know, this was one of those issues that, you know, it truly felt like a team book, because the team is communicating and working together while not actually being around each other. You know, this was one of those issues where everybody mostly communicated through telepathic mind talking, and they all seemed to click at certain points in the book, and I really dug that. It was really nicely done. Archaea has found a new host body, unfortunately, and I'm not going to spoil who that was, but it was nice. Some upgrades are given to Yuriko, Mary, and Enchantress that even Monet's is going to be having problems with them, and Monet is one tough bitch. And if even she's having problems with some of these people, you know they're a serious threat. This was good. This was really, really good. I dug it. It was great. And all I'm going to say is I enjoyed it, and I'm ready for the next issue. Where are they going to go from here? Especially with the cliffhanger. Oh, the cliffhanger. All I'm going to say is, motherfucker. Nice. This was a solid read. Loved it. I swear to you, now is the perfect time to be a fan of the X-Men. The right people are writing the good stories. Just fantastic stuff. This was great. Well, that's all I got for this week, everybody. I apologize for being late. Just had to find the time to do this. Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget my Blugoblin X channel. Please go to my Blugoblin X channel and check out my first episode of Nerd Wrestling Review. Remember, we talk about Genesis and the Royal Rumble. Don't forget about my bro, TheMtVernonKid, my good friends Deadpoolzilla, Brandon Hex, Mark and Chloe Fast Comics. I also posted a review of Cataclysm Ultimate Comics Spider-Man miniseries over at Dark Avenger Inc. Plus. Go check that out if you got a chance to. Thanks for watching, everybody, and until next time, and as always, I will see you all later.